Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna check Phantasma's limited set, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So first of all, I gotta say sorry because I wasn't expecting this pack to be so good, but it actually is. And I told you to roll on Shizuru's banner, but Shizuru's banner is actually still pretty good. And remember that the next rerun for this one is only going to come with the pack and not the banner. So it's still a high priority, this one. But this one is nothing to scoff at. It's really good. And let's check very quickly what you're getting on the banner. So, Core Phantasma. Core Phantasma is going to increase damage dealt to one enemy by 12% up to 24% and increase damage dealt to all enemies by 12% up to 24%. So that's going to be a 48% damage increase when you're targeting a single enemy. And it's basically Kowaru but without the critical condition, so that's pretty good, especially on BR. Then, it has an extra passive if you equip it on the main. Removes one buff for from 3 enemies every 15 seconds. That's gonna be 6 enemies when max level, and it is great for enemies with buffs like Edwin on the human form, and also Queen Canalo. It's really good. Then we also have the active. The active, I thought it was just like a whatever active that deals damage, but no, this is stronger than that. So, launches musical notes equal to the number of enemies that explode on impact dealing damage. That's gonna be 670% of damage. That's the base damage. If you level this up, it's gonna be 1,340% of damage. That's a big number for an active damage. And it doesn't end there. Damage is double when there is only one enemy. Just so that you know, this is basically major kind of damage. If you remember major, let's see, can I check major? I think that major is here. Major was a very popular supporter at the beginning of the game because it gave you 2000 damage, 2000% damage on the active, and it dealt more damage to machines. So what's the difference here? Major, the main passive of Major gives you damage reduction, and the main passive of Core Phantasma gives you damage increase. So this is gonna deal way more damage than Major. So yeah, this active is really busted. Every single effect in this supporter is actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to be this strong, but when I saw that the damage was on par with an ultimate, I was like, what? And you're gonna see it. It's disgustingly good. Let's hope that Grimoire doesn't nerf this. I like it the way it is. And it would be like kind of misadvertisement, so please don't, Grimoire. It's perfect as it is. So, advantages and disadvantages of this. This is generic, very generic, but it is not going to be that effective for newer players because newer players are not going to melt enemies. And you get the most value out of this supporter once you deal with the mobs. So this is the kind of supporter that you want to get, yes, but it gives you the most value when you are already, let's say, on the late game content. And yeah, that's the only disadvantage, actually. The other advantage is that this is pretty good for many different situations. It's good for farming the active, and it's also good for melting the enemies. You can deal with those annoying buffs if you put it on the main, and the effect is pretty generic, the main effect. So, what about Golden Sphere? Golden Sphere is very deceiving because in paper, this effect is not that great. But when you take into consideration Phantasma's skills and leader skill and the synergies that it has with it, it becomes really good. So it says The wind of Clinging Nightmare pulls in enemies and explodes at the end, dealing knockback attack with 180% of damage up to 360% of damage to nearby enemies. After using a skill, speed is increased by 8% up to 16% for 5 seconds. So I'm gonna start with the small disadvantage, the small mistake that this weapon has. You don't want this speed increase. You would prefer a flat 10% speed increase, like 5 to 10 flat speed increase, because yes, Phantasma is still slow with this build that I'm gonna use. Like, if you don't give her a speed increase, she's gonna be slow. But she wants speed increase the most when initiating your combo, not after dealing the combo. Because you want to do your basic attack fast so that you can transition into Clinging Nightmare. And this doesn't give you that. So it's a slight mistake on Gremory's part. It was like almost perfect. If it had given us a flat 5 to 10% speed increase, it would have been way better. Like permanent and flat. That would be excellent. But it is what it is. Now, let's check the skill so that we can talk properly about this weapon. So, as you can see, Clinging Nightmare is going to throw a ball, and it's going to do slashes, and it's going to deal with the enemies. So, it has a pulling effect. What I was expecting it to have a small pulling effect near the cloud, but it's not the case. It's actually way more OP than I thought. It's pulling every single enemy from the stage. I'm testing this on Queen Kanaloa, but it is amazing. And we're also going to test it on tower, but I think that on tower the enemies are already near each other. So I cannot see if it pulls something from across the stage, but I wouldn't doubt it. It has kind of the pulling capabilities of Edwin's attack. So that's really, really strong. And why is it important? Because you're going to pair the pulling effect with the leader skill. You're gonna get the enemies stunned by the sheer amount of attacks that this skill has, and you're gonna get near the enemy, which are going to be unable to move, and you're going to reduce the defense, thus dealing more damage. And while you're near them, you're going to cast Succubus Whisper, which is going to increase your damage, and you're going to deal more attacks. So yeah, the amount of synergies is disgusting. I really, really like what they did. It just has one small mistake design-wise, and it's the fact that we cannot accelerate our combo initiation. Like the first attack is gonna be kind of slow, and then you use the Clinging Nightmare, and then you get speed increase. What a shame! It was just like this close to being perfect. This close. But it is really good and I love it. Like, I'm surprised. I was expecting this to be a whatever weapon, but it's better than I thought. Like, I am really glad that Gremory give us a weapon that focuses on having good synergies instead of having a busted effect. I mean, a busted effect on the weapon description. Like, I mean, I like those ones, that's fine, but I think that this enhances gameplay overall rather than a single skill performance. So yeah, it is pretty nice. Oh yeah, and before I forget, let's check that custom. So you can take out this, you can take out the skirt, if that's a skirt. I mean, it's not closed. You can change the color to blue, red, and darker black, or you can change it. And you can take off the horns and the wings. in case you want that. So, let's see. First, let's test this on tower. So, for tower, if I'm not mistaken, I have... No. Yes, this one. So, let's check the combo. So, obviously, we're going to use Golden Sphere. We're going to use critical Magatamas with whatever elements. Like, I just have Ice here. But preferably you select Wind. We're going to use a whatever weapon, 5 out of 5, with whatever Magatamas. Then, everything 5 out of 5. This one plus 15, this one plus 13. Skills. For skills, we're using the basic enhancer. I'll admit, like, the basic enhancer, the first hit is not great. It takes a lot of time because the animation takes longer even though you get speed increase. So, I mean, Phantasma is slow and you know it, but after doing Clinging Nightmare, you're gonna be super fast, so you can use this. There's also the option of using Slash Horror or Phantasma Mirror on these builds with green. Just so that you know, you can select whichever skill you like the most. Then we're also using Succubus Whisper. So that's what I wanted to explain. Like, the generic option before was to use Twister Dance on green, because Twister Dance would give you more value than Succubus Whisper. So what do I mean by that? This gives you a 20% attack increase on 10 seconds. And it has 10-second cooldown. So basically, you're always going to have that attack increase. And you also deal damage with this skill. But the AoE is not like the greatest thing in the world, because it's a line and it deals the most damage in the middle. And then we have Succubus Whisper, which activates on the same command. That's the reason why we have to select either or. So this one is going to be 14-second cooldown. So first of all, it's longer. Then, enchant a giant magic circle for 8 seconds. The duration is shorter, which is bad. Enemies above the circle get damage over time. So, it deals damage. That's great. And ally attack damage above the circle is increased by 20%. It gives you that same 20% damage increase, but also for your partners, which is great. And then the size of the circle increases by 50% when a slot effect is applied. Another disadvantage, this requires you to go pure. So that's why I don't like it that much. If we don't go pure, the size is not good enough. Trust me. And in case that you decide to go mix, which is viable because you're only missing critical rate on this one, you can use Twister Dance instead. So lastly, we have Clinging Nightmare. We know Clinging Nightmare, 10-second cooldown, range attack, sense of mass of terror that changes into a black worm upon contacting enemies. The worm deals damage over time for 4 seconds, and when the target is dead, moves to other nearby targets. Increases the attack range by 50% with 1 green, increases the duration of the worm by 2 seconds, and increases critical rate on the third side effect. So you can do without the third one, but nowadays we do have ways to crit on BR, so it's pretty good. And on normal content, it is appreciated to have that critical rate increase. So what are we going to do for the supporters? We're going to use Suruga, which we actually do not need. You can change it if you want for whatever other supporters. Suruga is going to give us a 32% critical damage increase. But let's say that you change it maybe for Nano, which gives you 40. Maybe you change it for... who else? You can also change it for Akane, who gives you 20 for everyone and 70 for bosses when doing crits. Let's see. What else can you use? Like, those are kind of it on normal content. Yeah. So we have Suruga, we have Kowaru, which give us exactly the same amount of damage as Phantasma, but with the condition that you have to crit. And then Phantasma, which we already check. 5 out of 5, plus 14 this one, as you can see. And these are the stats of the customs, the stat of the stat training. Yeah, here we can see specifically the stats of this specific limited Orwell pack custom. And now let's check it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is that there are two combos that you can do. You can start with Whisper followed by Nightmare, or you can do Nightmare followed by Whisper. Both of them are pretty good. And destroyed. Now, I'm going to use the active of the supporter so that you can see that it's very good for dealing damage against enemies. Like, dealing with waves of enemies is going to be super simple as long as you use this. So, one thing, like, this is pretty bad for enemies who move. So, keep that in mind. Like, fighting this form of Edwin is probably the worst that you can do with this character. Okay, yeah. Nice. Okay, just yes, you see he's gonna get away from Whisper. But it's already done. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to use the ultimate, and I want you to see the damage that I deal. Maybe I don't catch it. Let's see if I can see how much damage I deal. How about 7 million? Okay, that's a big number, right? Maybe it's not ultimate levels of damage, the active, but it's still pretty good. I'm just going to wait to eliminate everyone. Like last time I managed to do it pretty quickly. Where are you, Edwin? So first I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to use the active, and it didn't crit! No, you have to see it with the crit. Let's see. Like, I was surprised at how strong that skill was, that active was. Let's see. And I don't know if the objects count. I don't think the objects count as enemies. Let's see. 25 seconds. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait so that we can see the effect of the active, the kind of damage that it deals. Because I can just delete Edwin whenever, but I want to show you. Let's see if I can crit this time. Okay. Oh yeah, another thing that I should be doing, perhaps, it's gonna be difficult to see, but I should actually get near Edwin. Well, now we didn't see it because he was too weak, but it eliminated like a ton of HP. Well, maybe we can see it on Time of 5VR. That's gonna be easier. So, yeah, you see that this is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good... the weapon is pretty good for dealing with waves of enemies, for sure. And the supporter is pretty good for dealing with a single enemy, but it also adapts so that you can deal with the waves of enemies first. That's something that I really like about this one, because Major will always target one single enemy, and this one adapts. So if there's multiple enemies, you use it to eliminate them, and then when you're facing one single enemy, you can use it later in the battle, and you're gonna deal even more damage. So the adaptability of this supporter gives it a lot of value. Now, let's see. I was racing to reach step 100, but I didn't manage, but at least I managed to be the first one on 101. In any case, I don't know. I'm gonna start. Let me tell you, I normally auto farm on 41, and I normally manually farm on 61. So I'm gonna go to 61. And we're gonna be using this. But, I'm gonna change Shisui. So I remove this and this. And let's just start by analyzing the other character that I'm going to put here, which is going to be Astaroth. There's another character that we could use. We could use Oboro. I'm going to do another run with that one. But let's see. So where are you? Where are you? Astaroth. Yeah, Astaroth. So why are we using Astaroth? Because Astaroth has an anti-demon weapon. So, you know, she's level 87. She is going to be using anti-demon ice and fire. She's also going to be using these weapons that are 5 out of 5 plus 15. I'm going to equip one Magatama here, whatever Magatamas on the sub slot. Then let's go with supporters. For supporters, we're going to be using actually Arabella on the main, just because the active deals a lot of damage. Because the other ones are not that great if we compare them. We're also going to use Kirara. And lastly, we're going to use Onigumo. Fortunately, for those of you who are F2P, we still have very good options. Instead of Kirara, you can use, for example, Hebiko, which is on the premium gacha, but it's permanent. You can always get it on any banner. And you can also equip defensive options like Sakuya, also Sakura, but we're gonna go with this. So for our skills, we're gonna use Fire Blast because we're letting the AI control this character. It's not that I like this one, I prefer Fire Wave, but the AI tends to get away from the enemy with ranged characters, so we want the most range. Then we're gonna use Supernova, obviously, to deal a lot of damage, and Lava Servant, because there's gonna be mobs, and Queen Kanaloa usually has a very big range of attack, like for most of her attacks. So stats already maxed out, and customs, there we are. And now let's go to the next one, Lapis. Lapis again, 87. The weapon is gonna be the Momochi weapon. Both weapons 5 out of 5 plus 15. Water and fire anti-demon Magatamas, whatever Magatamas. Piercing dash, gem support, moral boost. And we're gonna use the Lapis supporter because we want to increase the damage of our main attackers. We want to heal them more because we are going to go full offensive. And we also want to increase their critical rate because everyone is a demon. And a rose to guarantee that we can proc the Momochi weapons effect. And lastly, we're going to equip Arabella because, Arabella is good. Then the stats of the custom, the stats of the stat training. And let's go to Phantasma. For Phantasma, 87, you know the weapon, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, plus 15, plus 13, whatever Magatamas, anti-demon win Magatamas. For skills, I'm using Clinging Nightmare, and I'm going to change this one. Clinging Nightmare, Succubus Whisper, and Mirror, I decided to change for Horror/Horror, because it's way better. Mirror, you have to depend on the enemy attacking you, and Queen Kanaloa is going to attack for sure, but this allows you to increase your damage. /Horror allows you to increase your damage, while also hitting a ton of enemies, a ton of mobs, which is great so that you can target the boss, single target the boss quicker. Now, let's see, quicker, faster. In any case, let's go Phantasma, Misaki, and White Knight Asagi. Yes, you can go with something that is a little bit more dedicated to damage like Nano, but it is kind of smart to go with a mix supporter, a balanced supporter on one of your slots, because Phantasma is squishy. So yeah, you do want a little bit of extra defense. The only exception being if you play along with a Borrow, which I'm gonna try, but on a higher step. So the custom stats, the stat training, and yeah, let's test this one. So it's gonna be pretty easy. And my favorite way of doing the combo is to start with Whisper followed by Nightmare, but you can do it the other way around. Just be sure to be, come on, like this. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I think that last time that it didn't work, the ultimate, no, the active of the supporter, it was due to the fact that, wow, I used it just there, but it was due to the fact that perhaps I was kind of far away from the enemy and it doesn't have that much range. So that's a thing to take into consideration, the range of the active. So yeah, there we go. Nice. Wait a second, guys. It's raining and I have to close a window. Not my window, but a window. And we're back. Someone would be pissed at me if I didn't. So now let's do it in 100 because we can. But I'm gonna change it a little bit. Before that, I'm gonna save it. Yeah. I'm gonna use Oboro instead, but I don't know. No, yeah. Because of the defense reduction provided by Lapis, I can keep it this way. Like, technically you can change Lapis for Oboro because you don't need the healing, because the enemy is not going to attack you. And if they ever do, like, it's gonna be like a couple instances of damage, and you can just heal yourself with the potions at the end. And there we go. Here we go. And let's go with these ones. I have a ticket for a weapon and I want to get a skull face, but I'll wait to see what they give us on the anniversary. Let's hope that they give us some vouchers and stuff. So let's see. 5 out of 5 plus 11. 3 out of 5 plus 12. Anti-demon, fire and ice. This one is gonna have Wicked Slasher with the, not the basic enhancer, with where is Flash Step to increase my speed, and Hypnosis Seal. So let's see. For supporters, there's options because you want to go red. You can use Spinel, yes, and I think I will in this particular build. You can also use Francis, sure, that's actually pretty fine. And lastly, equip something like Lina. Lina is the best option, but if not, you can use Susune. And that's not the only thing you can do. You can equip Stella, you can equip where is it? Christmas Kirara, but I don't see her. Holy Night Kirara. You can equip Galilim, Yukina, yeah. So there's plenty of options, but I'm going with this. I'm going to use Francis because this is a higher step. This is 3 out of 5. And this is 4 out of 5, but this one is 5 out of 5. This is a higher step, and they have a lot of not penetration, a lot of resistance, like damage resistance. So let's see. Supporters, skills, weapon. Stat training is going to be this, and stats of the custom is going to be this. So let's see how effective this. Ooh, I don't have. Okay, I'll add 2 just in case. Let's see how effective this is, because one of the biggest disadvantages is that Phantasma can get interrupted when casting Whisper, Succubus Whisper. So getting the enemy stopped is gonna be great. And we get near the enemy. And Oboro, do your job. Do your job. And Oboro is not doing her job. Like, that's the thing. You can actually... the AI is not that smart, even though it's not terrible. It's still not the greatest thing in the world. So yeah, look at that damage, guys. Hey, don't do that. Okay. Yeah, it would be... No, it is not a good idea to use... what's the name? To use Witch-Su, yeah. Because with Phantasma you're going to have other debuffs. As simple as that. So you cannot try to prolong the mind control. But yeah, that was fast. Really, really fast and really, really easy. So we have to rely on Oboro trying to do their best with the skills. You can change one of the skills for the basic enhancer. Which one? Let's see. Flash Step. You can change Flash Step for the basic enhancer in hopes that Oboro uses Wicked Slasher faster. But, I mean, it's all RNG as usual. So, yeah. I'm not going to test it with other characters, the supporter, because it's not necessary. This one is simply a generic good option for green builds. If you have a green damage dealer, you can equip Phantasma, simple as that. But I gotta say, you don't want to use this. Like, you have to take into consideration the context, because this is not going to be great for single target characters who are facing wave of enemies. Like, it works, but it's not the best option. Instead, you want to use it on someone who does have at least 1 or 2 AoE attacks, and they are able to deal a ton of damage to the boss. You could actually equip these to... let's see, let's go to the characters. You could actually equip these to, for example, level to Tokiko if you want to make her a damage dealer, because you know that green is pretty good. Like, in my account, I can actually make Tokiko a damage dealer because of the awakening skills that I have. But most players are going to take her with this weapon and going to make her tank, which is a very good idea. But if you want to go the extra mile and make her a damage dealer, you can with Phantasma, Core Phantasma. Let's see, who else would take would be super great. Rin probably would be super great. Why? Because Chain Bolt, you can use it to target one single enemy and it deals the most damage once you do. And you can use Volt Rush to eliminate the waves of enemies. It's like a really good combo. On green, Kirara. Yeah, Kirara has something similar, because Kirara on green can use Glacier Drop to deal with waves of enemies, and then once you're done with her, with those, you can use Snow Leopard Fist to just melt the boss. So that's a really great combo. So basically, you want to use this with characters who have some kind of AoE damage to deal with waves of enemies. If your character doesn't have something like that, then you would be missing out on what core Phantasma is going to happen, is going to offer. So, should you roll for core Phantasma and the weapon? Well, so that's a difficult one. We have the anniversary coming. This is a really, really, really versatile supporter and a very synergistic weapon. So, yes, if possible, you do want to roll for it. But only if possible. Only if you have the disposable income. If not, just skip it. She's gonna return. Maybe you can save for her next time. Because even I haven't spent my mileage because I could buy another copy of the Founding 3. Because I don't know, maybe the anniversary comes with something new. I don't know. So let's hope for the best. Good luck on your rolls. Tell me what other combos you do with this weapon and supporter. And I mean with the weapon, with what other characters you pair them with VR and what kind of strategies you use. And that's gonna be it, guys. Let me know in the comments, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!